Hey, I'm Flashlight, and this is the beginning of the 12 steps of adult children of alcoholics or the adult children of dysfunctional families. Taken from the Big Red Book of Adult Children of Alcoholics and or Dysfunctional Families. 12 Steps of Adult Children. This section offers in-depth writing based on ACA principles and experience garnered during a 30-year period. The section includes about 35 shares of ACA members recorded voluntarily at meetings, retreats, and by invitation during a 10-year period. Transcribed mostly from tape recordings. The shares represent an array of ACA 12-step experience. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over the effects of alcoholism or other family dysfunction, that our lives had become unmanageable. Someone finally wrote it down. The first time I read the common behavior of an adult child, I felt like a bell that had been fetched up and rang hard. I was calm on the outside, but I was vibrating on the inside. I could not believe what I was reading. I remember looking over my shoulder to see if someone had been reading my mail and had planted this stuff somehow. I may have rubbed my fingers on the page, trying to feel the words because they seemed so real. The words of judging myself without mercy and being a people pleaser were describing my thinking and behaving in a language that was clear. I could not deny it. I was cursed harshly and subjected to violence as a kid. I was never listened to. Now, someone who I had never met had written down how I thought and felt without meeting me. Until I found ACA, I had spent my whole life condemning myself and feeling no good. I took drugs and acted out in disgusting ways, feeling lost. I read The Traits for the first time 20 years ago. I have been hooked on ACA ever since. The Traits and the 12 Steps have given me a new life and self-love. My body is remembering what happened. It took me a while to understand what I was hearing in ACA meetings. The common behaviors, or the 14 traits, meant a lot, and I got them quickly. But all the talk about being shamed and abandoned seemed to go over my head for many months, if not years. I could recall the mechanics of my abuse, which involved hearing my father call my mother vulgar names and being attacked by my father when I was 4 years old. I even saw blood and teeth fly when my violent dad knocked out men with clubs and pop bottles. But the feelings associated with these events did not register for the longest time. I was so numbed out and so shut down that I could not connect the terror that I must have felt with the recalling of the memory. I got help from a counselor who would slow me down when I recounted a violent episode in my home. It was the difference in telling the story rapidly, without feeling, and thinking about it as I talked. She said I had post-traumatic stress disorder. I was skeptical, but I knew my memories were violent and not normal. I had a high tolerance level to seeing violence and not feeling. I also got help from another source, movies. I began to notice feelings and tension in my body if a violent movie scene would occur. I don't watch violence, but the few scenes I would see, even on TV, began to trigger what I had not felt in a long time. It happened on God's schedule. I was not ready for this when I came here, but my body is telling me what happened, and I can handle it. The next share, the gift of the 12 steps. A friend of mine stopped coming to ACA meetings because he thought the 12 steps were a continuation of the dysfunctional family system. To him, the 12 steps were just a list of things to do to get approval and behave acceptably according to someone else's standards. But Alcoholics Anonymous didn't start out with the steps when AA was founded in 1935. The written steps came after the first meetings in an attempt to offer suggestions, not rules, of the recovery process. Someone asked the first 100 sober alcoholics in AA what they did differently that finally broke the deadly hold of alcoholism, a disease that had defied all medical and religious remedies throughout the ages. The group said they discussed the evolutionary process of their recovery. And then AA co-founder Bill W. documented the process used to obtain sobriety. That was the beginning of the suggested 12 steps. In reviewing my own recovery process in adult children of alcoholics, I now see how my higher power guided me in working the steps. The gift of the 12 steps resulted in my emotional and spiritual sobriety. Another share. There is nothing noble in the struggle. I have been in situations where the outcome would have been better if I just said, I can't do that. Instead, I took on the impossible, failed, and beat myself up for it. I would go without recreation, sleep, and food to keep myself focused on the task at hand. Relentlessly, I considered different perspectives until I found a way to get the job done. This depleted the energy I needed to survive. I began to withdraw from my family and friends. One day I was sitting on the carpet in my home office looking at piles of paper. I couldn't organize the papers or find the ones I needed. I couldn't get off the floor. I could only cry. I thought my life would never get better, and I wanted to die. My therapist said, "When you learn you can't do it, then you've got a chance. So far, you keep finding more energy to keep trying. The best thing for you to do is to fall apart, realize your life is unmanageable, and understand that you can't do it all." When my life got as bad as it could possibly get, I started coming to ACA. I discovered I had taken step 1 by saying, "I can't do this anymore, I quit." My life got better from that moment on. I had hit a bottom. While giving all you can is admirable, I have learned in ACA that it's better for me to know my capabilities and limitations. When I can't do something, I need to just let go. When I see my friends struggling now, I don't try to fix their lives for them. When they hit their bottom, they will let go and reach out for help as I did. I have finally discovered there is nothing noble in the struggle. I surrender. Okay, that's several pages, and I'll put the rest on the next.